Welcome back, everybody. This is Man Bites Retro. And what we do here, every week there's a new voice that brings forward their favorite person in film history, and we present that voice to you. His fear began when he woke up. His terror began when he realized he wasn't. This is the tagline for 28 Days Later. The Danny Boyle masterpiece, starring John Murphy and
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, sorry.
Yeah.
And of course, I got a special guest on, Branden Lacau from Man Bites Film.
Hello.
Yeah, we're back together, and we're not doing Candlelit. This is Man Bites Retro, and today we're doing 28 fucking days later.
Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite horror movies, and it's probably my favorite Danny Boyle film.
By far.
By far.
I mean, it's Danny Boyle at his best, and he has this weird kind of like atmospheric thing. The film, it opens up with this like kind of weird, you don't know what's going on in a hospital, kind of Resident Evil vibe.
Yeah.
And then you see, what's his face, completely, like, bare.
You see his panas.
Yeah. In all its glory.
Yeah.
Or micro-glory.
Yeah, also, the movie is filmed entirely on, like, a $2,000 camera.
Yeah, it's actually the Canon XLR, which was, like, at that time, it was, like, one of the first digital generation cameras.
Yeah,
and
the movie has this very grainy look to it. And not in a bad way, per se. It's just, it doesn't look like your typical blockbuster movie. Well, the quality of the film.
Put it this way, the budget for the film was $8 million, but that budget, only $2 million was actually put into the film. The rest was actually
marketing?
It was actually going into making the film developed for like movie theaters and all that stuff. Oh
wow, that takes $6 million?
Because they invented the technology for transference from digital.
Oh, gotcha. I'm like, whoa, film. That is insane. That's oh my god.
I mean, they didn't make it, but they kind of perfected it in a way because there's so many different formats used worldwide that they had to make their own formats for every different country, and it's just phenomenal film. The way that it's shot kind of adds to it, and it adds this weird texture to the film. And I mean, Danny Boyle is known for that. Trainspotting. I mean, come on, that was like a really gritty film.
Yes, it was.
So it's an interesting film. Why is it one of your favorite films of all time?
I like how gritty it is, and it's not your typical like zombie movie per se. The way they describe the people that are infected they're infected with rage. Yeah, and I always like the beginning of the movie, how like it's very normal, how it just starts like, you know, it's a
cold open. Yeah,
it's like these activists, these like, you know, people like PETA that you know believe in all that stuff, and they decide to break into a laboratory that is testing on monkeys with that virus, and I always like the scene when the monkeys they're making the monkey watch the TVs with
Clockwork Orange style,
with all like the violence and stuff, and basically they break the monkey out, and it causes an outbreak of this rage virus. I guess we'll call it the rage virus from now on, or whatever.
I mean, that's what it is. It's based a lot on The Stand, the Stephen King novel.
Yes.
And you could see the influences between that and kind of the George Romero original zombie movies, which with a twist. Because these zombies aren't slow and sluggish.
No, they are not.
These fuckers run.
Yeah, they're very scary looking. But I also like
their eyeballs, dude.
Yeah. Well, it's just they convulse, they vomit blood, and then they like their eyes are like this weird orange red color.
Yeah.
But I always liked the beginning when Cillian Murphy's character Jim wakes up in the hospital. He was a courier. He got hit by a car and basically was left for dead in the hospital when this whole ordeal started happening.
Walking Dead style.
Yeah, very Walking Dead style. Which this predates the Walking Dead comic book even.
Even the comic book?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it does.
So I wonder if the inspiration was from
I
that.
wonder if Robert Kirkman actually got inspiration from 28 Days Later for The Walking Dead, but whatever.
That's interesting.
But I like that entire sequence when he starts walking through London and he's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
There's no one on the streets, and it's just very cold and you feel very alone with him. And the scene when he comes across, like, I guess like a monument where people had started posting like pictures of their loved ones, like, have you seen my loved one and stuff,
like the billboard,
and the music starts crescendoing and like you're
with
just
explosions
and
in
you're
the
just
sky,
like, what
dude.
the fuck is happening with this guy? And then it's just,
which we have to stop and say, hold on, because the music in this film is done entirely, very much like The Graduate was done by Simon and Garfunkel. It's entirely done by Explosions in the Sky, which is a phenomenal environmental activist band, and they are
they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they're huge into that, and it's all instrumental music. And this is like, oh my god, perfection. Their album is so good. It's Explosions in the Sky. The alternate band to them is Godspeed, the Black Emperor, or your Black
Godspeed,
Emperor.
you Black Emperor.
Yeah,
sorry.
they're the alternate band, but it's the same group of people. But oh my god, they're phenomenal.
They're a Canadian post-rock band. Yeah.
Post-rock, more instrumental than anything else. But yeah.
But yeah, and then so I've never done this particular I've never done.
Okay, so we don't review and we don't break down.
Yeah, so how do you
So what else did you enjoy about this movie? What scenes stood out to you?
Oh, you want to know my favorite scene in the movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The end when Jim is going through the mansion and they're playing let me find the name of the actual song. I think it's actually Jim Through the Mansion. In the House in a Heartbeat, that's what it's called. And it's like, it's very subtle at the beginning. It's just the piano's like doo, doo, and then he's just running through the house, basically trying to save Hannah and fuck, I'm blanking on her name. The pharmacist chick, the black girl, the one that he likes.
Yeah.
And he's trying to save them because they have unfortunately come across this band of complete and utter assholes. The military, basically.
Yeah.
And he's just going through the house and he is lost.
Oh, hold on. We got to mention, now that we mentioned the assholes, played by one of the most amazing, in my opinion, Doctor Who doctors.
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston plays one of the main antagonists in this film.
Yes, I would call him the main antagonist of the film, I guess. If you don't want to call the Rage Virus the main antagonist.
But yeah, he is amazing. And if you want to see Christopher Eccleston's like range, watch this movie. Yeah. Because you go from that to the Doctor and you're like, whoa. Yeah.
There's just a lot of, like, that scene in particular, and then when he drops down into the room where let me find her name. Selena.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Selena is in the room with the top of the assholes.
Yeah, and completely drugged out.
Yeah, no.
She's doped up on that.
No, it's Hannah's, the younger one's the one that's doped out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Selena's in there.
I thought Selena was doped up, though.
No, she gives Hannah the dope because she tells Hannah, swallow the pills because they're about to rape us. Yeah. And I don't want you to feel anything, basically. Yeah. So Selena's in this room with this dude who is pretty much about to rape her. Yeah. And Jim, like, falls down and he just starts bashing the guy's head in. And then there's this just really hardcore scene where he's gouging the guy's eyes out and he just, like... And he's just all bloodied up and... You know, he kills the guy. And earlier in the movie, Selena told Jim that if he ever turned, she would kill him in a heartbeat. Yeah. And then he goes up to her and she grabs his machete and she, like, hesitates. And then he goes, that was longer than a heartbeat. And then they kiss each other. I love that scene. I also love the scene when they go through the fucking the supermarket. Yes, I love that scene so much.
Music is so, it's like a playful little twang. That, like, kind of elevator music with a twist to it.
Yeah, and they're just it's great. It's a nice moment of you know, in this shitty world that they live in, or in this shitty situation, because it's implied that it's not the world. It's just. Yeah. The UK that's, like, totally fucked.
Well, but that's the cool part is they don't imply that until the end.
Yeah,
and
Jim sees a plane flying, and then he's like, holy shit, like, I guess the world is fine. I guess they just quarantined our island.
Yeah.
And they were like, whatever, you guys fend for yourselves in this shit show.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's a really shitty situation, and then Jim, Selena, Hannah, and her dad, what's his name? Frank, go to they find a convenience store, and they go in a supermarket, and it's just really fun to see them kind of be human again.
Exactly, and it kind of because at this point in the film, they've already gone through like all the apartment buildings, and they've gone through trying to what do you call it? Keep the zombies at bay by staying in an apartment building, and they know it doesn't work. So they have to find a way to go to hear this one source out.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they're exposed to everything. And let's talk about some of the zombies like that are portrayed in this film. The way that they put the zombies out there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite attack sequence of the zombies?
Oh, shit.
Because there's so many in this film.
Oh, shit.
I want to say the tunnel is for me.
Which one?
The tunnel.
The tunnel is the most fucking, like, just nerve-wracking scene of that entire film.
It's a white knuckler, man.
Yeah, like...
You're literally white knuckling that shit.
They're trying to change a tire. They go into a dark tunnel and...
hesitantly.
Yeah, like, Jim is like, let's not go in here. And Frank's like, no, we're going.
It's the only way in there because if not, you have to go, like, 20 miles down the road
exactly.
or something.
And they bust one of their tires. And so they start trying to change the tire very quickly. And then, like, this horde of the infected start coming in the tunnel.
But
and
you don't see them.
No, the rats. The rats start coming in, and Hannah's like, ah! And then they're like, oh, shit, they're coming. And then it's, like, this really nerve-wracking scene where Hannah's, like, very quickly trying to, like...
And you don't see the zombies at all in this scene.
No.
Which is fascinating.
You start seeing them at the end. Like,
you start seeing the shadows of them going like this in the background.
Yeah,
and they're kind of like...
Jim's like, they're coming! And it's just super nerve-wracking.
And the music is very still, very calm, very relaxed. So this is not about the music making you tense and building the scene. This is literally all the editing and the acting and the way that this Danny Boyle puts this film together that makes you like...
Yeah, and there are definitely scenes in the movie that they tug at your heartstrings, like when Frank dies. Spoiler, sorry. I'm assuming we're going into spoilers. We already talked about that in the end, or slightly the end. The climax of the film, basically.
Well, one of them.
One of them. Yeah, like when Frank gets infected because he's angry that they basically have come to the blockade, thinking that the army's going to be there, and they're not. And he gets very angry, and he sees a bird picking at this corpse. And dumbass hits the metal pipe, and a droplet of blood falls into his eye.
In his eye, but
shitty way to go, dude.
But it follows the drop of blood from the roof to the bottom.
Yeah, and it hits him in the eye, and I really like that scene because at this point in the movie, you've kind of grown a liking to Frank. Yeah. He's become like a father figure to not only his daughter Hannah, but to Jim and Selena. You know, he saved them.
Yeah.
You know, he saved them at one point. And not only there, but he's also saving them by taking them to the answer to salvation, which is what they say in the broadcast.
Yeah.
And it's just really shitty to see him get infected in such a fucking crappy way.
But if you think about it, that's what would happen.
Yeah, and then I really like the scene where Hannah comes up to him and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, I'm fine, get away from me. And then she's like, "Are you sure?" And then he starts like changing.
Convulsing.
And then Jim grabs Hannah, and you could see he grabs the bat, and he's like about to kill Frank. He's like, "Oh shit, I need to do this." And then the soldiers pop up, and they fire on Frank and they kill him. Such a shitty shit. That's like the one scene in the movie where I'm like, damn, that really sucks.
It tears you apart.
Yeah, you're like, that really sucks, dude.
But this film, honestly, hands down, it gets you from the beginning and it grabs you by the balls and it literally takes you on this roller coaster ride. And you're completely absorbed in this world. It's not like most of these zombie movies where it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna like make you enthralled in the story or anything like that. This story sticks from beginning to end, and you're stuck in that story world.
Yeah,
there's no It never lets go of your balls, ever.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I was telling my cousin, I saw this movie in theaters at a local cinema here, and it was awesome to see it, like, on a big screen, because when this movie came out, I was, like, 12, and I doubt I would have liked to see this movie.
I watched this in theaters, and it was, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
it's an experience.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience. And also, it's really cool to watch movies like this with. That's
with
why
people that are fans.
Yeah, with people that actually want to watch this movie or that have never seen it but they're willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Because there weren't a lot of people, but a couple of them were like, the person that worked at the theater was like, "Oh, raise your hand if you've never seen the film," and there were a couple of people that raised their hands.
Really?
And I'm like. Honestly, I wouldn't call it a low-budget horror film, but it's definitely a horror film that...
It's underappreciated.
It can fly under the radar for a lot of people. And there is a sequel to the movie, but the sequel is...
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's hot doo-doo compared to the first one, in my opinion.
But you're talking about, this is on my top 25 of all time for me.
Yeah,
this film is on my top 25. So
I would say this is on my top 5.
And then the sequel is like... You're talking about nowhere on the charts.
Yeah, no.
It's good, but it's not as good as
the reason I like the first one so much is that the movie, yes, it has its violent moments, but it's not gratuitously violent.
Not at all.
For the second one is gratuitously violent.
It is.
There are some scenes in the second one where I was like, "Whoa!"
They grabbed the face gouging sequence,
yeah, and they
made it a regular thing.
Like they did the face gouging sequence again, but it's way more violent. Like in the first one, when he gouges the guy's eyes out, there's no blood. Yeah, there's blood on Jim, and you see like his fingers in the guy's eyes down to like his first knuckle, but it's not. You don't see the guy's eyes popping out. You see like blood gushing out of the dude's face or anything. It's just like, all right, his fingers are in the guy's eyes.
It's done for emotional effect, which is very.
You're super frustrated with Jim at that point.
Yeah.
You want to kill these people. As horrible as that sounds, like they are horrible people.
Yeah.
And
exactly. And
you want to see them get out of there alive.
Putting it in modern context, imagine facing off against Negan's tribe. That's what it is pretty much comparable to.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's literally gouging out the eyes of what's that skinny dude that's just a sadistic fucking in Walking Dead. The one that's part of Negan's crew.
Dwight?
Yeah.
The one with the burned face?
No, not Dwight. The other one. The other
the guy with the fucking mustache.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember that guy's name, but I know who you're talking about.
But that guy, that's who you wanted.
Yeah, he's just... Oh, man.
You just want to gouge the fucker.
And one thing I actually find interesting about the movie is that because they're not zombies per se and they're not dead, they are still human beings.
Yeah.
So they do start starving at one point.
Yes.
Which they show that towards the end of the film. Mm-hmm. At that point, I guess...
It's a more realistic approach to
zombies. It's more like...
quote-unquote zombies.
Biological warfare that maybe something of this light can happen. I hope to God it never does. But, you know... like at the end of the movie, you see like this zombie as the plane is coming by is... starving to... He's dying, basically, on the side of this, like, bridge, because I guess...
Yeah, completely abandoned
Yeah,
bridge,
he's, like, super
so
emaciated, cool. And he's, like, heavy breathing, like, wheezing, and then he eventually dies, because...
Yeah.
I'm assuming at this point, there's either very little people left, or... So I don't get it. Do they eat food?
They do not.
I wonder, do they eat food? Because
they have to eat humans.
But also, they don't eat people because they bite them, they vomit their blood on them, and then they just leave them alone. It's not like a zombie movie where the zombies actually start taking chunks out of people,
no,
you know?
I think they just have to rage, which is just violence.
Violence, kill, and then go on to the next thing.
Yeah. But what do you think are some of the flaws in the movie overall? Where do you think that they could actually improve, and where do you think that they went wrong with the movie? Because I think one of the things that...
Yeah, let me hear what you have to say about that.
I think one of the biggest flaws of this movie, and this has nothing to do... Because, honestly, we're watching it now in retrospective.
Yeah.
The special effects are kind of weird in certain aspects.
What scene in particular?
There's one scene where the city is burning in the background.
Oh, where Manchester's on fire. Yes.
And that looks completely CG'd. And you could tell it looks like something throwback from the 90s. But again, it goes back to they had a very low budget. This was a very, very, trying movie for most of these people. And this was the first time they were really using special effects the way that they were doing it. And incorporating that from digital to the editing bay and then putting it into film, you lose a lot of quality. So I don't know if that's where it kind of could have added that effect to it.
One thing I've always found kind of funky about the movie is I kind of find it horseshit that in 28 days that entire island just went to utter shit.
Well, it actually gets explained how they did that, and it's very fascinating because
28 days, that's a month. Like, in a month, you're telling me that total, the government is just fucked. Civilization is just, it's destroyed. There's nothing. I feel like that would take months.
Well, put it this way. This is how they calculate it in the movie. Day 1 was exposure.
Yes.
Day 3, infection.
Day 1 is when the people break the monkey out.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it starts getting exposed.
Yes.
Right? So mind you, this isn't a major city. And in a major city, you're going to have contact with at least...
They never mention it, but I'm assuming it's in London,
It
right?
is in London,
And the monkeys or whatever are in London?
And there's other films that kind of go into this. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Contagion.
Yes, I have.
Okay,
that's
so
really good. That's a more down to earth. That is the most realistic version of a pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. See, and it goes into kind of the statistics that the World Organization actually goes into about possible contagions going out into the world.
Yeah.
And if it comes out of a major city, one person has contact with almost 650 people throughout a day in a city where there's mass transportation.
Okay.
So 650 people. Then those 650 people infect another 650 people each. Can you imagine that just going... It escalates, especially in a city like London, that just goes everywhere in England.
What is it? Day 1 exposure, day 3 infection?
Day 8 epidemic, day 15...
So by day 3, there's already a significant amount of people infected.
Correct.
By day 8... There is a fucking epidemic. It's straight up really bad at that point.
It's done.
Yeah.
Day 15 is evacuation.
That's when, the government's like, get out.
Yeah. And then day 20, devastation. That's when everything
started. In 5 days, literally the government collapsed. Civilization as in the UK as they knew it.
Which it would. I mean, it only takes one person to get into the cabinet that's infected, and that whole cabinet's fucked.
It's just, man, I don't know. I just feel like, I understand, it's been a while since I've seen Contagion.
And plus, it's a gimmick. Let's be real. 28 days later, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, but, it's just, it's weird. The movie starts 28 days later after the outbreak. Jim wakes up. The world the UK, is totally messed up. Then at the end of the movie, 28 days later pass.
Yeah.
After he's been shot, somehow they saved him, which was actually not supposed to be the actual ending.
Correct. He was supposed to die.
He was supposed to die, but then they screened it to people, and they were like, "We don't like this." They wanted something nice.
Yeah. Which that end sequence with the
I love that. I love that. And then, do you think they saw us this time? And then they stopped, and he smiles. And...
That was just such a perfect ending.
Yes.
And there was no need for a sequel in this
film. They really should not have done a sequel at all.
It's
not
at all,
dude.
It's not necessary. Some movies are meant to have one film, and you're good with that. Yeah. Always good with 28 Days Later just being one film. How about favorite character-wise? Who's your favorite?
Favorite character? I think I'm going to go with Selena.
You think so?
I think, because at the beginning of the movie, Selena is this total badass that all she cares about is survival.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about anybody else but herself. Yes, she has her friend.
Yeah.
When they save Jim at the beginning, but as you see, literally 10 minutes later, she does not hesitate to chop the guy's arm off and kill him because he's infected. And I like her because there's actual character growth. She, you see her change into this cold-hearted person that only cares about herself to have gaining a soft spot for Jim, liking him, protecting him, and also once Frank dies, she becomes like a big sister / mother figure to Hannah. I think all the characters in the movie. Hannah.
I like Hannah.
Hannah's fine. There's nothing wrong with Hannah.
Yeah.
I just think that there's not much to her character I agree with throughout the entire movie.
I agree with you. I think, honestly, my favorite by far is Jim, and that's because I see the association with him, and I kind of identify with that character.
Okay.
So when I see that character...
Why? Because you got
So for the audience, I actually got hit by a car when I was a kid, and I wasn't in a hospital for 28 days, but I was hit and like immobilized and all that stuff. But
sorry, that was just a really morbid joke.
But no, I really like it because honestly, you see him as the everyday person, the person that he's just literally, he doesn't have any training in firearms, he doesn't have anything, and he's literally hanging on by the freaking like sheer luck.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Oh yeah,
because he survives. First of all, in the hospital, completely unconscious
because no one
thought to look in that room.
Yeah, no one thought to go into to a hospital, I guess, and look for and find anything in there. And that's it.
And then on top of that, he gets out, and then he stumbles so many times in this film, and that's what real life is, man. If you think about it, if apocalypse hits and you wake up from your sleep and everything is completely destroyed and gone, Vanilla Sky style, and you walk out and you're like, where are all the cars? What is going on?
I'd shit myself.
What would you do? How would you react if somebody comes running at you randomly? And
instinctively, I guess as a human, because you want to fight or flight, I think instinctively you'd probably fight them and attempt to save yourself. But
the first instinct he had was he tripped over himself because he's like, is this guy just approaching me?
So what is it? The priest, right?
Yeah,
that's the
priest.
Father.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, hello, and they all look up at him like, what? And oh man, that scene is super creepy.
That scene is incredible, and that's how real reaction would be to this. This film is grounded in reality, which is great, but it's
fantastic
science fiction, and Danny Boyle kind of juggles that perfectly in building this character.
I do agree with you. I like Jim. I like his character progression.
And I love Henry West.
Yeah,
I don't know why I like these antagonists so much, but I really do. They're just. I like characters like that because those are the flaws in humanity, and seeing that on screen is amazing because I don't identify with that character in any way or form.
Yeah, I don't either.
So it's fascinating to see how somebody with that predilections will actually behave in a situation like this. Because let's be real, there would be people that do that. I mean, look at it; it's scattered throughout history. Negan, this character Henry West, they're in there for a reason. It's because they're common.
Once civilization ends and there's no authority to tell you like, no, you can't do that, like a police officer or whatever.
Yeah,
that's when the crazies start coming out, and they're like, all right, there's no order. I can do whatever the hell I want, basically.
Mad Max style.
Yeah, Mad Max style. Like, I can do whatever the hell I want now.
Yeah.
I can rape, pillage, and there's no one to tell me that that's wrong.
Yeah. And then people start setting up their own governments and all that stuff, which, let's be real, the Henry West character, yes, he goes about it in a very uncivilized manner, but if you think about what he's trying to say and do, he's trying to create civilization again. He's trying to create order and try to keep these people that are a bunch of military people that haven't seen a woman alive in 30 days. So they're ramped up and sexed up.
Yeah, so basically what my cousin, for anyone that's listening, is he tells Jim at one point, he goes, I came across one of the soldiers with a gun in his mouth.
Yeah.
Saying that he was going to kill himself because there was that life was over. Their world was done. And he promised this soldier that he was going to find women to basically continue their civilization. And he promises them. And then he's lucky when Jim shows up with Hannah and Selena.
Yeah.
There are two women there. And
And then it's just, it's it's the real scum of society, and you see the downtrodden in society.
Yes.
And this is by no means condoning their behavior in any way or form. It's just a matter of that's how humans behave when they have no hope, when they have no moral sense to hold them back from doing these actions. And we have to have that type of civilization. And Major Henry West is trying to keep that civilization, but it's hard to keep 20 soldiers in line when you're only one person.
But even then, like, there are bad people, but even the quote-unquote good guys, like, in this movie, Jim, or in other forms of media, like The Walking Dead, like Rick Grimes, at the beginning of the movie and of the show, Rick and Jim are kind of your cookie-cutter good guy. Yeah. We're not going to hurt anybody. Yeah. And as the show progresses, and the movie progresses, Jim kills a boy, kills a man, gouges his eyes out. Yeah. And Rick becomes this savage that is willing to kill anybody in his way that is in his way or is willing to hurt him or his loved ones, basically. Yep. And it's interesting to see how even the good people, the quote unquote good people, the false civilization kind of molds them to be a specific way.
It really does. And let's be real. The fascinating thing about these movies is the antagonist, what they do, how they do, and what brings the situations into play. That's what makes good entertainment in a film. And this film kind of does that well in a way that keeps it grounded to reality. And that's what I love about 28 Days Later. It's so fascinating, these two characters, how polar opposite they are, yet they're very similar. Yep. And that's fascinating to see that as a character.
So anything else you want to...
No, unless you wanted to add anything else in there.
I love this movie. This movie's great. It's in my top 5. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I think
this is probably top 5 horror movies for me by far.
Top 5 horror movies. I would put in like the top 3. My favorite is the original Halloween. I guess Jaws you could put there in there too.
Yeah, Jaws, that's true. Actually,
Jaws is a horror movie too. Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. But I love 28 Days Later. It's very minimalistic, but it gets the point across, and it doesn't deviate. It doesn't get boring. It doesn't. It's a fun ride from beginning to end. The characters are very likable. Yeah. And unfortunately, we got a sequel, but it wasn't that great.
Yeah. So if you're gonna watch this, watch it. Watch the original. Don't worry about the sequel too much. Yeah. If you get around to it, whatever. That's up to you. But at your own risk.
And maybe they'll make a third one, because they've been talking about that since the second one came out.
I don't know about that. I really hope they don't. This, for me, honestly, is a 10 out of 10. I'll say just perfect movie for me.
Yeah, I say a 10 out of 10 also.
Besides those minute little flaws. Yeah. But that's like anything else, you know. You can't go back and watch Planet of the Apes from the 70s and say, oh my god, this special effects are horrible. Like, dude, come on now.
It's dated, yeah.
It has its dated moments.
It's like when we talked about the Indiana Jones trilogy on Candlelit Blowjobs. I talked about Raiders, that the special effects look dated. They're not bad per se. It's just it's 1981. You know, this is, if you're comparing a movie from 2002, or 2003, sorry, like 28 Days Later, to a movie that came out in 2018, there's going to be a massive difference in the CGI quality from back then till now.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time. And then this film actually ended up making $85 million, which is pretty phenomenal, considering. And this was one of the Fox Searchlight pictures.
It is 2002, actually. Yeah. November 1st, 2002 is when in the UK.
Yeah. But Fox Searchlight Pictures it's basically like their independent arm of Fox. And what they do is they kind of try to reach out and find these interesting movies and find these kind of movies that are upcoming. Yeah, very niche. And they find them and bring them to the big markets, which is fascinating. And I'm so pissed off that they're going pretty much under now with the acquisition of Disney and all that.
I remember when I first saw this movie, I saw it on TV at my grandparents' house because they had HBO and I didn't. I remember catching it, I would catch pieces of it, and then eventually I saw it like completely from start to finish, and I was like, I need this movie. Yeah. And I think I bought it like my freshman year of high school, which was like 2006. I bought it immediately like on DVD. I still have it. It's one of my favorite movies.
It really is for me too.
It's such a good movie.
So thank you, Branden, for joining us on Man Bites Retro. Which this is your first time.
This is my first time. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. This was different than what we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody, thank you guys for joining us. And if you want to check out our other content, you're able to check out Man Bites Film, which Branden is on every single week. He is the host of that show.
Yes, I am.
And were you sniffling there?
Oh,
that's right.
I don't know. I take deep, hearty breaths. I got that from my mom. I'm a sire. I take really big sighs sometimes. My dad's like, "Are you okay?"
Are you a sire, like SIRE or SIGH?
GH. Like I sigh a lot.
There's a minor difference there.
Sorry, not a sire.
You're
a
sire and a scholar. Huh?
Yeah, no. I sigh a lot, and I got that from my mom where I sigh heavily. Like it's clearly audible to other people. And most people are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just something I do. I don't. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just weird." But, so you were saying Man Bites Film. What else?
So you're able to check out Man Bites Film on Fridays every single week, and then on Mondays you're able to check out Doctor Who in Review, which we do in conjunction with Diversely Geek.
Yep.
And Man Bites Retro, the one that you just listened to. Every week we bring on a new person to talk about one of their favorite films, favorite people in film history, whichever one of the two. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode.
See you later, guys.